Well, are you keeping Bob Badger busy?
What's that?
Are you keeping Bob Badger busy?
Yeah. Yeah, we meet every month there. Yeah. Good guy.
Hell yeah. This was not enough entertainment for him.
Yes.
Okay, we can go ahead and call this meeting to order. Have a roll call, please.
Ms. Brewer? Here. Mr. Dochenbaugh?
Here.
Ms. Fisher? Here. Mr. Vaughn?
Here.
Councilman Hellinger? Vice Chairman Junk?
Here.
Chairman Dick?
Here. I'd like to have a motion to approve the absence of Councilman Hellinger.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
I'm sorry.
I second
Ms. Brewer?
Yes.
Mr. Dochenbaugh?
it. Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Junk?
Yes.
Chairman Dick?
Yes. And need a motion to approve the motion summary of the last meeting on March 9th.
I motion to approve the summary.
Have a motion.
Second. Oh, go ahead. Second.
Anybody have anything they need to add or anything? Discuss it? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Brewer?
Yes.
Mr. Dochenbaugh?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Junk?
Yes.
Chairman Dick?
Yes. Okay, before we start on our request here tonight, if anybody in the crowd would like to speak or wants to talk tonight, I have to ask you to come up so you can be sworn in. Come up to the table and give your name, address, and swear you in.
Be sworn in now?
Yes. Anybody who thinks they would want to talk tonight. Just right there by the mic, and could you raise your right hand? Do you swear to affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. I do.
One at a time, please state your name and address.
Neil Shine, 148 North Washington Street.
Steve Martin, 36 Griswold.
Thank you. Okay, so if you want to take over here.
Item A, 2016-1528, a request by Neil Shine for approval of a side yard building setback variance from 8 feet per Schedule 1134.04 yard requirements to approximately 2 feet to construct a two-car garage addition on 0.182 acres on property zoned R3 One Family Residential District located at 148 North Washington Street.
Chairman, I have a staff report.
Okay,
to present. The site's located on the southeast corner of North Washington and Griswold Street, zoned R3 residential, as are the surrounding properties. This is an aerial of the site. This is a picture. The subject house is on the left, the yards and the neighbor to the south house on the right, and the from the driveway left is where the applicant is proposing to construct the attached garage. It'd be about 28 feet wide, about 2.3 feet from the south property line. This is a site plan. The top site plan is the existing site. The bottom one identifies where the garage, how far the garage will protrude into the setback. This is a proposed elevation. The top one is how it's existing. The bottom one, we're looking at the left house. You can see that he has the elevation of a two-car garage. The garage closest to his house would be a patio on top. Then the other garage to the south would have a pitched roof. It's actually done pretty nice. These are renderings of the proposal. Kind of fits the neighborhood and the house and design and materials and the like, which staff was impressed to see that. Also out front, with the two-car garage, he requested a curb cut from the city engineer's department to access the two-car garage. And actually, there's about approximately a 20-inch caliper tree, street tree that would have to be removed with that. So that would have to be replaced with another street tree out there if this is approved. In the state of Ohio, there's 12 practical difficulties for a BZA case to judge it on. Really, this development really doesn't meet any of the 12. Number 2, you could consider this potentially a irregular site because it's smaller than most sites in this zoning district. It's a lot of record. It's about 1,000 feet smaller than what our code allows. So that could be the reason why a variance is likely requested for this site. One option staff suggested, and I know I had this conversation with the applicant, is staff would suggest a rear entrance garage from Griswold Street for save the tree, you wouldn't have a curb cut out there, and we just think aesthetically it looked better. However, that was if there's a lot of neighborhood opposition, that would be our option. Apparently there's no opposition, which is good, I don't think. Yeah, there's one person here, but I don't think he's opposing it, as my understanding. Staff supports this. One of the reasons is if you build a detached garage, you don't have to be 3 feet from the property line. The existing garage he has now that's in the rear is on the property line or 2 feet. That's going to be removed. The house is within a few feet of the property line. So this is a variance because it's attached. If it was detached, you'd only need 1 foot variance instead of the 6 foot variance. So staff recommends a 3 to 6 foot variance. The 6 foot variance would allow a 24-foot garage to be practical for a normal size garage, full size garage. The additional 3 feet would allow him to get 27 feet out there instead of requested 28. So staff was, we're just concerned if there was any adjacent neighbors who would be opposed to this. So that's why the recommendation is a little, we have a range here. So staff recommends approval with 6 conditions, and one of them is that the curb cut on Griswold would have to be closed per the engineering requirements, and the access drive would have to be removed. Or we couldn't have 2 curb cuts to this site. So that's staff's recommendation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody have anything to add out here you'd like to say? Yeah, could you come up and have a seat there and pull that mic over to you so it's being recorded?
I don't have a lot to add. Thank you for the additional information you provided, which I might have neglected in the report. The important thing I want to stress is that 2 feet includes the eaves of the garage. As the drawing showed, the right garage, we'll call it, sits within 2 feet or around 2 feet of the property line, but that's including the eaves. Our current eaves on the house are about 2 feet. So we'd really be looking at the actual structure being roughly 4 feet away. And that's just to make everything in line with the current aesthetics and the new development. Now, as Lance mentioned, the code allows for a 3 foot garage off the 3 foot setback. If we were to do this, we could technically, we could potentially build a garage that was even closer and more, it would be more disruptive to the neighbors, and it would all be allowed technically, through the code. So I tried to be very reasonable with the design. I've spoken with with both neighbors. The Coreys in the White House there to the right, the south, have just moved in. Actually, they have not fully moved in, but they want to do the same thing on their lot with a 1-car attached garage. They don't have the space to do a 2 foot, but they would be running into the same thing, and they unfortunately couldn't make it today. But we would both be for each other improving our houses whenever we can, because they're actually sister houses. They were built in the same mirrored design, and that they're forever kind of linked in property value that way.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
And just to inform the commission, the setback is based on where the foundation is and not the eaves. So the eaves can overhang, and that's not would be a set.
Okay, I was not aware of this.
I guess
I thought it was any part of the structure because just to the east of our property, the neighbor's eaves overhang onto our property, and so I assumed that that's kind of where you drew it. So,
I think we had several discussions that might have got lost in.
no,
some
yeah, I
translation.
definitely must have missed that. I tried to find it and I couldn't find anything. So yes, foundationally, we wouldn't be within, even within 2 feet. We can leave it as is, but
Yeah, right.
Okay. That clears that out. I was curious about that. No questions? Okay. Mr. Martin, do you want to add anything? Ask?
Yes, I live immediately across the street, and what I will do is address the second requirement that Mr. Schultz mentioned needs to be met for the granting of a variance. I think that it is meant, you've got the practical difficulties. If you go back to the initial slide, the neighbor to their immediate east, their roof actually encroaches onto their property in the existing garage, which is just simply not adequate today. I mean, even close to adequate. So I think that meets your criteria. That it makes a lot more sense, honestly, to move the garage to the other side, because when you move it to the other side, their driveway is then abutting another driveway, where it presently is. I mean, the drive is in part underneath the overhang of Judge and Mrs. Shaw's house. I mean, so it's logically, it's a much better. Mr. Shaw's are not here tonight. My wife and I have dinner with them tonight. They are supportive of it also. So you have no issues at all in the neighborhood. Everybody's supportive of it.
Okay. Thank you.
if I could add one item I forgot to mention. The North Washington Street is a one-way street, if you're not aware. The driveway of the house immediately south there, you would have two driveways in this plan very near to each other. However, typically, I spoke with someone at the engineer's office about the design and regulations on when we want to put driveways, when are they considered too close safety. In this case, you'll always be pulling in and out in the same direction. You won't ever really have cars turning left and right into each other. Even so, I think there's still a good distance there between them. They proposed potentially at the city engineer's office, they proposed a potential shared driveway, but it doesn't work with the elevation so much, and the distance becomes too wide at that point. So we've looked at the options, and so far it seems safe, and it seems like we'll have enough separation that we won't be interfering with each other. So I just wanted to add that.
The conversation out of the engineer, because it's one way, that helps a lot. Our residential code really doesn't have a distance between driveways. Commercial, we have minimum, but for residential, we don't. What our code says is the driveway has to be 2 feet from the property line. So with this, what now is a 4 foot, foot setback 4 from the property line, you'd have that. So, you know, it meets the minimums of our code. And I think one of the conditions in here is that the engineer requested they could push it as far north as possible based on the design, because they're only saying the driveway can only be 20 feet wide. I think you had 25 feet or something.
The driveway in the design was,
And that's more,
nothing was
more the curb
finalized
cut.
there. It's more about the structure, and the driveway will be added to fit all of the needs, you know, whether it's the tree or the, if the the property has any, I've spoken to all utilities, but I do not believe we have to move any. There are no easements, I know that. But if we were to have to, out of our own pocket, move a gas line into the house, that could also dictate how we position the driveway. So none of the driveway dimensions are true. So it's 20 feet.
That's the minimal, or that's the maximum they'll allow, so.
Questions?
I know you both stated the neighbors are in agreement with this, and not to question you, but if we confirm that, I mean,
No,
have you had any conversations with them?
No, I haven't. We send out notice to everybody within
So they
300
have
feet,
to
so
be here.
I haven't,
Well,
he is one of them.
Yeah, but I mean, you're vouching for each other. Not that I don't believe
He's
you.
not a direct neighbor. He's across the.
Yeah, been doing this for 20 years, if somebody was opposed to it, I'd have heard it
They would have heard, you would have heard
at a
it.
minimum, or they'd be at this
To
meeting.
be fair, and I'd like to add again,
Judge would be here.
the house south there, it's Doug and Julie Corey. They bought the house early in the year. However, they're waiting for their daughter to finish high school, and they're moving in June. So they haven't actually moved in. They've moved some things in. They're not in the area though. They're in Hilliard. So I'm not surprised they didn't show up, because I gave them the drawings and spoke with them, and they were supportive. I'd said, don't worry about coming to the meeting though. I think if you have opposition, let them know and let me know. But they were total support. If you want to confirm that, I'd be.
No, I was just curious if you'd had conversations
No, I
to verify that. So if I'm understanding this right, the current garage is 2.5 feet from the property line?
On our property is roughly 2.5 feet, I believe, and the neighbors is within 2 feet,
Within 2
close
feet.
to 2 feet.
And this will now be 4 feet, so we're actually getting more
Yeah.
of a setback than what we originally had.
Yeah, the zoning code requires 8 foot. Now this is going to be, instead of 2 feet, it's going to be 4 foot. So it's 50% variance, which is even more acceptable from a planning perspective,
Other questions?
without the neighbor's opposition. Obviously, there isn't.
Not, take a motion.
A motion to approve.
Approve. Okay, you want to go ahead?
Should I
Lisa?
stipulate the
I move to.
conditions? Did you want to stipulate the conditions
I
on
don't have any. The ones in here.
the ones spelled out here?
You go.
We have to swear her
It's
in.
on 3 of 4.
This one?
Down there, it does.
Okay. I move to approve the application 2016-1528, finding beyond a reasonable doubt that the following decision factors necessary for approval of a variance according to Chapter 1128 of the Planning and Zoning Code are not met, with the conditions recommended by staff, that the proposed garage addition shall be set back a minimum of 3 to 6 feet from the south property line. The new curb cut shall be a maximum 20 feet wide and shall be shifted to the north as far as possible while still accommodating garage access. The new curb cut and any potential drainage issues shall achieve compliance with minimum engineering requirements. The existing curb cut on Griswold Street and subsequent driveway on the subject property shall be eliminated per engineering requirements. The existing street tree shall be replaced if it is eliminated in the construction of the new driveway, and the new garage addition shall achieve compliance with the minimum building requirements.
Just clarify, you said are not met?
I
And
moved to the bottom.
is that a big deal?
Are met.
Armin, just Armin.
I just wanted to make sure that was a big deal.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Dalhenbaugh,
Yes.
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Junk,
Yes.
Chairman Dick.
Yes. Okay, motion has passed.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the applicant. We had a a lot of good constructive discussion on this over the last few weeks, and we always don't get that. I appreciate that.
Great. Thank you.
Sure, good luck with that. Any comments or discussion for the board? Staff, nothing? Next regular meeting set for July 13th. Have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Somebody wants to?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Brewer?
Yes.
Mr. Dalhenbaugh?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Junk?
Yes.
Chairman Dick?
Yes. That what?
Crystal, I wasn't trying to pick on you. I just wanted to make sure we had.
My eyes